So now we are recording and all the rest, and I'll send you all a link as well. So if you want to look back on it and have a look, that's fine too. So you're all welcome this morning. Good to see you. I suppose it's nature for this, Paul, to have a smaller number on the advanced diploma than the diploma. And look, that's fine. So I'm it's something that I want to keep going, and it's something that I'm kind of passionate about as well. So I really hope that you enjoy the adventure. We have reshaped, revamped, and changed the whole course around. And as I say to people, the diploma course is about credit control and doing it. So it's about knowing what to do and when to do it, and from credit management, collections, and all that kind of stuff. So the diploma is about doing the job. The advanced diploma moves to the next level, which is about managing. And that is a big step up. And certainly in my career, the step up to management was one of the most terrifying things I ever did. And looking back now, it's kind of a mixture of smiling and cringing when I think about some of the things I did and how bad a manager I was. It was just terrifying. And I suppose I became a credit manager because I was a pretty good credit controller. And it took me a while to cop that what you need to be a good manager is totally different than being a good credit controller. They're totally different skills. They're totally different approaches, everything. And the other thing as well, and I see this going around, is the quality of management. When I walk into companies and I hear, oh, people they're off for 3 months for stress or for sick leave or all this sort of stuff. Like, to me, that's all about management. That's not about, somebody doesn't tend to go sick for 3 months. That is kind of stress related, and the stress comes from, in my view, bad management. If you have a manager who knows what they're doing, who cares about people, they should be able to get the best out of the people that are managing, get the job done in a proper way to the benefit of all. To me, that's what management is all about. And when I see, and particularly inexperienced managers who are terrified in being found out. That's really what happens to a lot of them, and that's why they build barriers around themselves for fear that people will catch them out. And that sort of prompted me as well. So I thought, look, from a credit management perspective and the experience we have, we really want to use this course to give people an insight into management and how to manage. And there's 3 sections to the main body of work in the course. One is how to manage yourself, because that's number one. If you can't manage yourself, then you've no business trying to manage anybody else. How to manage the team, and that's getting into people and how to manage the people. And then the third and very important area is managing the function. So how to manage the credit function, and I mean manage it, not do it, manage it. And I suppose there is a difference between managing and doing. And managing it is about getting the job done. Doing is about doing it. And you learn, if you're any good, fairly quickly that there's a huge difference between doing it and getting it done. And so that's really what the whole course is centered on. So there are a number of different aspects to the course. So it's similar and different to the diploma that you've completed. The similarity is that you will get notes every Monday. The similarity is you will get short tests every week based on the material. And that's that. The dissimilarity is we've condensed it into one term, which is a kind of 16-week term. And the other element from the previous diploma that we ran, that we maintained, is what we call the practical credit management, or a credit management project. So what you will be required to do over the next 16 weeks is to present I suppose what would you call it, Paul? A mini thesis? Would that be
Yeah, a small dissertation. Yeah,
a
yeah,
small
mini thesis.
dissertation?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I know that terrifies the life out of a lot of people, just even the thoughts of a dissertation. So on that basis, and because it is an advanced diploma, and we want to give you an opportunity to, it's also called practical credit management, and what it is about is putting the knowledge that you've got in the course to work on a practical level. And rather than just sending you off on your own to turn in a 6,000 word dissertation, for the last, what, I think, Paul, it might be over 20 years.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then my profile says that I've over 20 years experience and I'm never going to change it. It's not a lie. And it,
More like 40.
shut up now. Don't you be letting me down. If people, well, I'm recording. I'll admit it anyway. I mean, it's 47.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
A wealth of knowledge and experience,
But if
Declan.
I advertise myself having 47 years, and they go, that funny duddy. Jeez, I didn't know he was that old. Yeah, that is actually what it is. So it's over 20, and it'll always be 20 as far as
Well,
I'm
if you haven't figured it out by now, you never
concerned.
will.
Oh, look, I'm still figuring it out. That's the great thing. And the other great thing about it is, looking back to my cringy days as a new manager, one of the big differences is that back then I knew everything. And as I get older, I know less and less.
Which
And
you,
I
which
think,
you,
in 10 years' time, I know absolutely nothing at all.
you know where to look for the answers, Declan. That's the important thing.
Well, this is it. Yeah, yeah, I think I do, and history tends to repeat itself. I tell a story about my, in these days where we all have telephones. In the old days, my uncle in Roscrea didn't have a phone, so if my mom wanted to talk to him, she had to write to him on a Monday, post the letter on Monday, he'd get it on Tuesday, and the letter would say, "Can you go to Delaney's at 7 o'clock on Friday? I want to have a chat with you." You see, and he'd then drive up to Delaney's and take the call, and they'd have the chat. And as backward and as old fashioned as that is, what I find myself doing more and more now is emailing people to schedule a call with them. Because even though everybody's on a phone, nobody will answer it because we're too busy doing other
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So even though we look like we've got real sophisticated, we tend to go back to what works, So,
Exactly.
so that is that. So, and rather than sort of abandoning you to do a dissertation, Paul has been working on this. So, what I do, Paul, is I'll let you go first anyway, so you can just give them an idea of what's involved in the
Yeah,
dissertation, and then I'll go through the other part of the course and just give you a bit of detail in terms of what's going on there.
of course. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
So do you want me to put up any handouts or
Yeah, I was thinking, Declan, I go through the actual thing that you sent with the email. There are
yeah,
other attachments. I'll send them on myself next week.
grand,
We'll
okay,
just concentrate on what you sent out
grand, okay.
yesterday.
Well, then let me just get this up now. Let me see. Enable editing. You yeah. So let me see. No, Jane, it's doing all sorts of funny things. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. What's it doing? I've never seen this before. It's obviously waiting until I do it.
I'll start off anyway, Declan. I'll
Yeah,
just
okay, you
introduce
go.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Good morning, Jacinta and Carol, and we have others, I think, that may be viewing the recording. Paul Nolan is my name. I run a company called AR Solutions, Debt Collection Agency. AR as in accounts receivable. So that's AR Solutions. I started it back in 2008, I think it was, and yeah, we're pretty busy. There's a lot of unpaid debt out there that we're happy to take on, chasing up. Um, so I've been in the credit management course myself. I've done the diploma, the advanced diploma, and I went on to do a degree in credit management with DIT. Um, unfortunately, that course is no longer available. But who knows? Hopefully, in the future, maybe. I think it's important. What you're doing at the moment is brilliant, but it should only be a stepping stone to the next learning. That's great, Declan. Can we have it there now? Yeah.
Yeah.
To the next level, really. And I endorse fully what Declan says in terms of you're now moving from being an employee basically to being a supervisor or manager. That's where this course is designed for, the advanced credit management course. And with that in mind, we normally ask students to take on this project. It's Declan said, it's 6,000 words. That's roughly probably a third of what a normal thesis would be. So it's pretty near there. And I've just finished correcting last term's projects, and I believe me, the standard increases every term. I can see that, and it's great to see it. And I remember one particular girl last term, and she said to me, "I've never done anything like this before. I'm not sure I can do this." And we had a couple of phone calls and emails, whatever, and she turned in a very, very worthwhile and a very impressive project at the end of the day. And 3 months previously, she thought she'd never be able to undertake this thing. So it is achievable. It's well doable. It will take a bit of effort, a bit of time. There's no doubt about that. But the rewards are brilliant, absolutely brilliant in terms of your confidence, in terms of hopefully solving some sort of an issue or a problem that has been facing the department or the team for a while, and no one has really probably had the time or the opportunity to sit back and look at it and say, how can we improve this? How can we sort this out? And that's why we like the project to be work-based. And apart from all that, and I'll explain later as well, I'm sure most organizations will offer you support, particularly if you're tackling something. And it might not even be a problem. It might be just something that you might want to bring in, some sort of innovative measure that would help your job run more smoothly and much more effectively, and add to the bottom line. And that's really what we're at as credit managers. We want to show the organization that we have worked. We're not just all the negative. We're not the kind of sales blockers or whatever. That's all old school stuff. Now what we're doing is we're actually contributing to the wealth of the company, and it's important to remember that. And one of the ways you can do that is actually get to the table yourself where the decisions are made, and that's what education will do for you. It'll get you from the credit controller up to a position where you can actually sit with senior management and hopefully make very important and very good decisions. We were talking about earlier about how the course will help you in your career. One of my daughters actually done this course, I think probably about 10 years ago, Declan.
Karen. Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, Karen, and that would probably be her highest qualification so far, advanced diploma. Now, she's done other courses, obviously, in the meantime, because she's kind of strayed a little bit from credit management into kind of risk management, which is, it's a kind of a natural step in some respects, really, from credit management, and the rewards tend to be higher in that area of business. And I was talking to her yesterday. She's applied for another job, and the job she's applied for carries an assortment package of your health insurance and all that paid for, but has a basic salary of 140 grand. Now she's earning at the moment 120 grand a year, which she never thought. But she applies herself to the job and whatever else, and always.
It's all the qualification, Paul. It's all down to the qualification.
Well, it's a lot to do with it, Declan. And there was a study done at Harvard University a couple of years back, and they found that the three attributes or features that kind of improve people's I suppose profile in an organization are those that are interested in their job, interest in the organization. So you have to show interest. The second is a certain sense of ambition, that you're looking to improve all the time. Not that you're going to go in there and change the world and all the rest, but you're ambitious and you're picking up stuff and you're learning and you're willing to learn. And the third thing is that they're well trained.
Yeah.
So they're the three kind of attributes or features that they found that leads to a successful employee. So it's important to remember that. What I'm going to do now is we're just going to not rush, but go through the makeup, if you like, of the project, how it works, and give you. I will follow this up with there'll be quite notes on a regular basis and slides, and early next week I'll send you other handouts that are particularly relevant at the early stages of the project, so you'll get them next week. So just reading through that there, this stage of the diploma is an opportunity to put all your learning into practice. This is an assignment-based project. You're required to demonstrate how you apply the knowledge gained on the course to your own work situation. You'll present a 6,000-word dissertation on an approved topic with the guidance and support of your tutor. That's yours truly. The project is to be researched and presented as a bound document in line with the criteria as set below. Now, that's all I'm looking for in terms of your actual submission. So that's just a bound document, nothing fancy, nothing, you don't have to go to any outside agency or anything like that, shop, you know, you get that yourself. It's just a classic cover and a thing at the back, and your project obviously is included within, okay? And what I'll do is as well, I'll send you an actual copy of a completed project. I'll send that to you next week as well, which of course a lot of notes. And that'll give you an idea of the structure and layout of the project, how it is be presented. So if you have any queries on it, come back to me straight away. Now, as Declan said, just that first paragraph there, we're now moving from a situation where we're an employee to a manager. So this is what the project is all about: identifying an area that needs investigation and hopefully to come up with a well-balanced and well-researched solution at the end of the day. So what we've got in mind now, we put our manager's hat on us now. So we're looking, as I said originally, to see how the credit can affect the bottom line of a company. That's something terribly important. We're going to learn how to do research and reach independent conclusions. And there's no right or wrong answer to this project. All the marking is attributed to how you do your research, to the effort that you put in, and I'll be able to obviously tell the kind of effort and the time that's been put into each project. So there's no right. You might start off think that, oh yeah, if we get more employees in the department, we'll get better results. You might find out at the end of it that it's not that. It might be your procedures, your processes that might be wrong. Might not, you know, throwing extra bodies at the situation might not give you the desired outcome that you want. So there's no right or wrong answer in your thesis. So, and you might decide, you might just kind of, you know, discover that as you're going through it and kind of say, oh, maybe I'm wrong here. You're not wrong. Whatever your research shows you, that's what you submit. And what it'll do as well, and again, this is hopefully it'll be work-based. So what you're doing here is, at the end of the day, maybe your boss, maybe your manager, or whatever, might want to have a look at this and say, you know, yeah, you know, we have had this situation, we have that this issue, we've never really got on top of it. Your research might show maybe a solution or maybe a number of possible solutions to the problem. So what that's doing is raising your own profile and that of your department within the organization. So, you know, and you will find as well, hopefully, if you do take on a work-based project, that you will get support from management. Maybe it'll kind of allow you to get access to information that wouldn't normally be available to someone. But because that you're doing a professional body of work, you know, that can open doors for you. That can open opportunities, obviously, as well for you. So it's important to remember that. The purpose of the project. Project provides an opportunity to consolidate the knowledge and skills covered in all the previous modules contained in the diploma and advanced diploma courses, and to develop higher level technical skills appropriate managers in the credit profession. So what we're doing here in this project, we identify an area that needs investigation. We do our research, and then we reach conclusions based on our research. And then finally, what we do is we present those conclusions, recommendations. So that's the flow, if you like, of the actual project itself. And again, I'll send you out a handout on project writing. And the important thing to remember is that your project has to have a proper structure to it, but it has to have a flow to it as well. So your ideas will flow to the next idea, one idea to the next. So there's a natural progression in your writing, if you like. So it's important to remember that as well. Subject matter. The subject can be one of your choosing. You must get the subject approved by your tutor in advance. So that's compulsory, okay? And what I'll do is, maybe you'll have a think about it over the weekend after we have, today's lesson. Go away, maybe think about it. And early next week, I'll send you out a couple of handouts. And one of them actually contains a section that you must complete yourself, which is your proposed topic. And there are kind of what we call trigger questions with that. So, what you hope to achieve. I just want you to put down your honest answers on those and submit that to me by Monday week, which is the 3rd of March, for approval. So I'll have a look at them, and if I think there's a project there that's doable, I'll give you the go ahead. But I need to have a look at it first, and just to see exactly what you propose based on your project on. Sometimes the projects can be too broad, and you're trying to kind of solve maybe multiple problems in the one time. You won't have time to do that, and what it does then, it kind of dilutes from the project a little bit. So you keep it focused. Pick one, at most two areas that need investigation, and stick with those. And there's a method of doing that. If you can't identify what the problem is, we call it the drill down method. So there are notes on that that help you identify, what the real nature of the problem is. So plenty of handouts on the way. The other thing, the subject matter is, you have to remember as well, this has, I think at the end of May, Declan, the project had to be finalised. It's in.
Yeah, it's the 31st of May. That's the bottom line there on the page.
So you got 3 months. Yeah, that's great. So you got 3 months. So this has to sustain you for 3 months. So you pick something that interests you, okay? And work related. I already mentioned the advantages in that. And the other thing is, if it is work related, you'll have plenty of material there that you can work on in terms if you want to get stats, figures, anything like that. If you want to interview someone, all that is there. And the other thing again is that you will get job recognition from this, and particularly if it's a good project that you submit at the end of the day, it won't go unnoticed. Do keep the subject. I'm on number 3 here. Do keep the subject matter. Do not keep the subject matter too broad. I've mentioned that already. Look at a particular problem area in your work that needs improvement, or an innovative measure or procedure that you could introduce that would save money. Yeah, and as I say, there are trigger questions. In the handout, I also will send you samples of previous topics, again, which might give you an idea. That one there that I showed you, it was about purchase orders and the importance of invoicing correctly and the effect that purchase orders can have on correct invoicing, and obviously the problems without correct purchase orders. And that was a pretty good, scored 80 points, that one. So it was a pretty good project, that. So it might be something like that. But have a look at the list anyway. Again, it might trigger something. And then the other thing that we call trigger questions. What are we doing that we could be doing better? What's causing us problems? Things like that. I'll send you a list of those as well. And there's another thing called a SWOT analysis. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a very old, goes back to the 60s, I think it is. Again, it was designed by someone, I think it was in Harvard. And it's a way of identifying strengths and weaknesses within an organization. So I'll send you notes on that as well. So again, if you're having problems, most people probably know exactly what you want to do. Exactly, there is a problem there. But if you don't, you can look at it, do a SWOT analysis. It's a very simple thing. It's kind of a matrix, and your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So strengths and weaknesses are actually things within the organization. Opportunities are threats are things with outside the organization. Yeah, have a look at that. Just do it's a simple kind of matrix that can help you discover maybe issues that you might pick as a topic. And as I said, the sample titles. The draft title, that's the sheet that I will send you Monday. And if you can have it completed for me, there's 2 pages in it. Have it completed for me, send it back to me by Monday, March the 3rd, and we'll start from there. And I'll start sending notes then at that stage. Involve your boss. I already mentioned that. Shows your clear mind. It may allow you time after you research and hearts your role. Position income may lead to a positive spin-off for the company. So it's important. So just moving on, number 6 there, different sections of the project. This is where the meat is in terms of the project. Now, these are sections that you have to have. And again, the sample project that I'll send you out will show you there has to be a section called rationale, a section called investigation stage 1, another, the 5 sections that I've listed there, you have to have a section on each of those. And there are marks for each one of those. The marking allocation you can see below there. So conclusions and analysis is 20 points, which is obviously the highest number of points in it. It's the most important part of it. And the rationale, just going back to number 6 there, rationale, your first thing. Oh, before you do this, you might want to put in some sort of background information to your organization. It gives me a kind of a flavor for the organization, and it sets the tone really for the reading of the thesis, for the project. And it just fills in some background information, even an organization chart if you want to include it, fine. And your role within the organization, what your role is at present. So that gives me some great stuff to get to know the person behind the project. And sometimes people put in acknowledgements. Acknowledgements are, well, what they are is acknowledgements of people for helping you. Anyone that might have helped you, boss, partner, tutor, anyone like that at all, that you've gone, you might have interviewed someone, whatever, so they're the people. It's nice to give them, to acknowledge the help and support that you've got from them. So it's only a couple of lines or whatever, but as I say, your partner for putting up to you maybe for 3 months of non-communication or something like that, while you're doing your project. So the rationale is simply and there are notes on each section. I'll send them out. The rationale is really the reason that you picked this topic. So what you do is you outline the problem, why you've picked that particular project topic, and what you hope to achieve, what outcomes you hope to achieve at the end of the day. Now, as I mentioned previously, there's no right or wrong answers. You might find after doing your project that it's totally turned on its head, and it's something else that's causing the issue, or there's another way of resolving, or sometimes you find that you haven't got enough time maybe to get to the nub of the problem. So that all that kind of stuff goes in that's your rationale anyway. Just mainly your reason for picking that particular topic, what the issue is at the moment, and what you hope to achieve at the end of your project. The second then is investigation stage 1. So this is where the real kind of difference is. And I always say that doing this project, it's a different type of learning. That's all it is. But it is learning. and it's learning how to research stuff, how to investigate stuff within your organization. And again, as I say, at the end of the day, come up hopefully with some viable solutions. So your research, your strategy, and your data collection. There are two types of research. We call it primary, which is something that you do yourself. So that could be a survey, it could be a questionnaire, and they're kind of similar, those things. Or it could be an interview. So that's something that you take upon yourself. And I like to see either one of those or a combination of those in your project. I think it's terribly important that you do your own research. So that's your primary research. Then you've got your secondary sources, and that's just simply kind of looking up stuff on the internet, looking stuff on maybe a book that maybe Declan has written several books on credit. There might be something there that you can bring into to the project. So it's doing research, and it could be journals, anything like that, magazines, whatever. There's a magazine in the UK. I don't know if anyone gets it or not. Do you get it, Declan? No.
Do yeah.
Yeah. I
Most
haven't.
expensive magazine I get every month.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I have one there somewhere. I don't know where it is. Thought I had it handy. Oh yeah, there it is. It's called Credit Management. The last one I have is the December issue. Well, you kind of get them hit and miss.
Yeah.
That's issued by the Chartered Institute of Credit Management in the UK. Again, they have a website there. You might want to have a look at that. I don't know where the website is on this, but it's www.cicm.com. There might be stuff there that you can refer to or use. And again, that just brings to mind when you're quoting something, there's a way of quoting it. So you have to be careful. Take the details of, again, it'll be in your presentation. You have a section called bibliography. So that's where you acknowledge any quotes or stuff like that that you take from articles or from people, whatever. Just make sure that the quote is correct, if it is a quote. And always ask yourself, when someone is making a quote or someone, what's the reason behind it? You know, it has to stand independently. That, in other words, that it's not kind of something that's contrived maybe for a particular reason. So to be an element of biasness in it. So, you know, just, and the thing is as well, if you see an article, take down where you saw the article, if it's on a website, something like that, take down the details of the website, because you need to quote them in your project, as well as quoting them at the very back in the bibliography section. You have to acknowledge it. And in terms of, there is a handout on plagiarism, and the Institute are very, very concerned about plagiarism, particularly in today's world with artificial intelligence and all that sort of stuff. You know, so it's terribly important. Plagiarism, basically, in a nutshell, is passing on someone else's work as your own. Now you can quote anyone ad verbatim. Once you give them credit for that, you have to give them credit for that. But if you try to pass that on as your own work, well, that's plagiarism, and that's serious kind of stuff. So we don't want to go there. I'll send you notes on that anyway, on plagiarism. So going back to our thing, we've gone one, rationale, investigation stage 2, investigation stage 3, and that's just where you're interpreting and you're presenting your results. And normally it would be accompanied by maybe some graphs, tables. We like to see some quantitative data, figures, because we are a branch of finance, if you like. So we do like to see figures. We do like to see graphs. And I think Microsoft, I mean, if you have a table of figures, they can very easily, there's an application there. I'm not sure exactly how to use it myself, but it will turn data into graphs. And without getting too complicated on graphs, it's nice to see some visual aspect of the project. And I would stick with just three basic types of graphs. So we have a pie chart, you have a linear chart, and you have a bar chart. And they're all other types of scattergrams and all this. We don't want to go there. So if you're presenting data in graphical form, use one or all three of those. And it's very, very, for someone that's kind of reading or looking at a project, to see a graph or whatever else, it says an awful lot. There's a lot of information in there presented in a different format. So I like to see them in projects. Then number 4 there, your conclusion and analysis. So that's a list of unbiased outcomes. So it's independent and well-supported conclusions. And as I mentioned, and I've mentioned several times, there's no right or wrong answer. The marks are all presented on the works that are done leading up to your conclusions. And the other thing as well, one of the golden rules of doing this work has to be unbiased. All this work is unbiased. So you might have a particular notion in your head that I have the answer to this before you even start your project. But it's important that you take this totally from a neutral stance. Okay. Hopefully you'll come to the conclusion that you were right at the end of the day. Not necessarily. But it's terribly important in terms if you're doing interviews, if you're preparing questions for interviews, if you're preparing a survey, that has to be totally unbiased. And there's a way of doing all that. You have to give even balance when you're setting out a questionnaire or a survey. And again, I'll send you notes on those. But be terribly aware that you cannot be biased. Otherwise, your project will be marked down. So it's you're totally neutral with your stance. And the last section there, and these are all kind of written sections within the project, is evaluation. The evaluation is kind of a personal, if you like, review on your project. How do you feel the project went for you? Do you feel that you picked the right investigation technique? Maybe you find that you got a very poor response to your survey, your questionnaire, and maybe in hindsight you say, maybe I included maybe less questions, because sometimes if you have a long questionnaire, it can put people off. Maybe you'll say, well, the interview didn't go too well. Maybe I interviewed the wrong person, whatever. It's your own kind of personal kind of review in hindsight of how the project has gone in your own mind. You might see again when in the course of your investigations research that it's led you to maybe a bigger problem or another issue that needs investigation, that needs further analysis. You might want to go back to that. You might just identify something else that needs looking after. So we're on section 7 here. So we've covered the first 5 there. There are 3 sections there at the end: effort in achieving deadlines. There are marks for these. These are not written parts of your project. This is just something that I mark myself, having reviewed the project, having looked at the project, having looked at the content, the effort, wherever else, and I mark out of 10 what I think you deserve for your effort and achieve deadlines. So if I'm constantly chasing people for updates, whatever else, like that doesn't go down too well, obviously. If your project is 2-3 weeks late without proper authorization, that's an issue as well. That's going to cost you points. And generally, you can see from a project the kind of effort and time that's gone into it. I've been doing this long enough now, so I'll mark that. Initiative is just basically if you've gone the extra mile. If you've managed to secure an interview with the Minister for Finance or something like that, you get a few extra marks for that. And presentation. And present again, the last handout will include your presentation. There's a way presented. This is a professional piece of work. Do bear that in mind. There are certain ways of writing it. There's certain language that cannot be used. And again, I'll send you out the notes on that, okay? It's pretty straightforward. Your pass mark is 50%. And those last 3 sections there, there's 30 marks there. Presentation, there's 10 marks there for the taking, which is, it doesn't get any easier than that if you apply yourself and you pay attention to it and do it as requested. Shouldn't be a problem there in getting a high mark in presentation. Words, you have 6,000 words. I'd like to put the word count on the front cover of your project. So, I mean, you're just put on your work and put on your spell check as well. Make sure you have that on, and your grammar. As I say, hopefully someone's going to pick this up at some stage and read it. Maybe your boss, it might be director in the company, whatever. So you want this to look professional, You have your deadline there, 31st of May. Student support, I'm available here at any time. Normally we say every Tuesday or every second Tuesday. Doesn't matter to me. You can email me at any time. I'll come back to you within 48 hours. If you want to have a phone call, send me an email like Declan was talking about earlier on there, send me an email and we can organise a time that suits both. That's no problem whatsoever. I'm here to make sure that you pass this. Okay. And if you do everything that I ask, if you do everything according to your notes, whatever else, you'll pass it, no problem. It might seem a bit daunting at the start, but believe me, it's well doable, and it's finding that first paragraph sometimes can be the problem. I remember myself doing I think I was doing a thesis once, and it took me 2 hours to get the first line down. I think it was. After that, then I couldn't stop. So that's a common kind of thing, really. Keep to the deadlines. Plagiarism, well, I send you out something on that. Keep to the deadlines. You don't panic at the last minute. Enjoy the experience. Great confidence builder. Instills a sense of achievement. And then as you involve your employer, you will again get greater recognition for the work you were doing and the progress you're making. I have handouts coming to you on plagiarism, on project writing, and a sample project going to you. And the important thing is to get your topic to me by Monday week, and I'll send you out the form for completion on that. You get notes and you get slides on a regular basis. So just keep up with it. I'll ask every so often for a brief update. I don't need to send me your project at that stage, I had everyone kept sending me their project the project, all I'm looking for is 1 or 2 paragraphs to say where you're at, if you're experiencing any issues or problems, wherever, let me know about it. If I can help, I'll help you, no problem. The 3 golden rules has to be an unbiased piece of work. That's terribly important. Pick something that interests you. That's obviously work related. And don't make it too broad. Pick 1 or 2 issues at most and concentrate on those. Enjoy the experience, everybody. I wish you the best of luck. And as I said, it's just a different way of learning. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I think there's a great sense of achievement when you put the final touches and bind it and send it off. And
absolutely, yeah. I have them all here, and I get more and more impressed every term, at the quality of the stuff that's coming through. And you said that I'm 20 years doing this now, and the quality is improving all the time, and that's great kind of a testament to you guys that are doing the early kind of groundwork on the course, and it's shown itself. I mean, it's reflected in the quality of the stuff that's coming through. And I'd be very, very proud and happy to show those projects to anybody in credit management at any level and let them see, the quality of this.
Very good. Brilliant. Listen, that is wonderful, Paul. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
If you have any questions, by all means.
If any questions to ask me, or if anything comes to mind afterwards, there's no problem. I'm there 24/7 to help you with this thing. I'll say if I don't get to you straight away, I will come back. I'll say to myself 48 hours just in case I'm away or tied up with something, whatever else,
Yeah, that's great.
I'll give you every support, and my job is to get you through this. That's, and I haven't failed yet.
That is grand. And then just now I've changed the screen there now. I'll be sending everybody out a copy of the presentation, and it has all the dates and the project details and contact details and email addresses and all that kind of stuff as well. So you know you'll have all that after the session here, and I copy you in as well, Paul.
Yeah, I would just need the email addresses of the students that I can send out the stuff. I'll send out stuff on Monday, and then you reply
Well,
to
I just it'll be sort of lunchtime Monday, Paul, because I want to contact people just to see if they're with us or what the story is, you know.
No rush, no rush. Yeah.
Okay, so listen, thank you very much. Enjoy the day. Hopefully you'll be celebrating the rugby and I'll be with you. And I'll just hang on to the group for another few minutes just to show what else is involved in the course.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, everybody. Best of luck to you all. Okay.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. So now I'm just going to see if I can. So yeah, I don't know why this blocks up the screen. Anyway, I'll keep going. So you can see this. I'll just go through this very quickly with you. So in terms of the course, so the practical credit management assignment, that's what Paul has done. It might sound a bit daunting. It is going to be great. And then, as I said, on a weekly basis, you will get your weekly notes, short tests, and all that sort of stuff. And there's 2 assignments there as well. The good news in this particular course is there is no final exam. All right. So you get marks for your practical assignment, you get marks for your short tests, and you get marks for your 2 regular assignments. That's a much smaller body of work. It's nothing like the practical assignment. So it's just based on the material that we go through. Is that okay? So they're the 3 elements. They're the 3 marks. You don't have to sit a written exam at the end. Well, here's all the dates. So what we will do is between now and the end of May, as I say, each week over 10 weeks, and we take a break there for Easter as well. So what you're going to get is, and on Monday for me, you're going to get your first. Now, when I say set of notes, it's a combination. So there are some notes, there are some audio files, and I think there might be an odd video file as well that we'll send you. So it is kind of multimedia stuff that you're getting. So it's not just all about reading notes. So it's a combination of all 3. And I just go through the different modules with you. So every week you get a set of notes, you read the notes, you do the short test, and then you submit it. And that's really what it's all about. And if you see the 3 sections that I told you about at the start, the first 4 modules is about managing yourself. So self-management, setting goals and setting about achieving them, time management in terms of getting organized and getting on top of things, and then building your own confidence. So the first 4 modules is about yourself, to put yourself in a place of confidence that you're in control and you know how to control it. And that's, to me, that's the basis of everything. So that is that. Then the second set of notes, 5, 6, and 7, that's about managing the team. And yeah, there's a book there. I go through the modules individually, how to manage people and how to manage teams. They're 2 totally different things. So you put yourself first and get on top of yourself. Now you're in a position to manage the individuals, and now you're in a position to manage the teams. And then we move on to the final section then, which is about managing the function, which is the things you need to be looking out for, the things you need that'll jump up and bite you, and all that kind of good stuff as well. So high risk accounts, boundaries, that's where all the conflict happens, is at the boundaries. And reporting and how to report and, you know, paint yourself in a good light. So that is the 13 weeks from now. That is the modules. That's the date you return them. That'll be the slides I'll send you. These are the 2 assignments. So we'll have 1 assignment in April about managing yourself, and a second assignment about managing the team. which is good. And look, if you have a team you're managing, you can work on your current experience. If you haven't, you can, assume a situation. And so we'll talk about that as well. Notes will be sent out on a Monday and Tuesday if it's a bank holiday. And yeah, well, just a small enough note. Hopefully, I get everything. Yeah, within the notes, we do give you additional exercises and I suppose some practical applications of the notes as well. That's not part of the marking structure or system, but we recommend, look, if we ask you to do an exercise, give it a go. Sure, what's the worst that can happen? And it only works. That's the great thing about this. This is practical and it really works. So that's that. So, but there's no additional marks. You've a week for your short test, you've 2 weeks for the assignments, and that is fine. That's your project submission date, the 31st of May. And that will be the end of the course. Paul has told you all about that, so there's no need for me to go into it. That's our contact number. So if you want to WhatsApp or you want to text or ring or whatever, I'm in the office most of the time. I'm training an odd few days. So if I'm training, I'm not contactable. More if I'm here, I'm happy to take a call. And use me as a resource as well while you're going through this. So if you have any questions or queries or something just doesn't make sense to you, rather than struggling with it, please, we are here to help. So just to make sure that you're aware of that. That's our email addresses as well. So you can talk to us at any time. There's Paul, AR Solutions. That's him. AICDP, I know you are all members of that, so there's and maybe CMII as well. CMII, I know they're developing it, and we'll let you know as we go on. But to diploma holders or advanced diploma holders, they are prepared to offer what they call professional membership. So there's 3 levels of membership. There's the free membership. There's sort of professional 1 and professional 2, which is the highest level of membership. Now it does cost 100 quid and it's 50 quid for the lower levels. So they're creating a kind of an exclusive club of professional members. I'm just making you aware of it. I'm not on commission, and it's a choice for yourself whether you think you'll get value out of it or not. But I'm just making you aware of that it is there. So that's that. Now, in terms of marks, so you receive marks out of 15 for each assignment. So that gives you 30%. Now, these are the 2 small assignments I was telling you about managing yourself and managing the team. So that gives you 30% of your marks. The short test will give you 20% of your marks. So you get 2% for each of your short tests. And then the final dissertation or project practical credit management that Paul was talking to you about, that gives you half the marks. So between the short tests, the 2 small assignments and the major assignment, that's where you get your 100% of marks. And the pass mark overall is 50%. And anybody who's engaged with it, that is very doable. If you decide to do it all at the end. And in terms of the different levels, I think the only difference before, I'm just going to switch this off now because I thought somebody might be. Sorry, there we go. Oh, sorry. So that is the marking structure. So that's questions on the modules, and I'll send you a quick synopsis of the modules. Self-management. So this is managing yourself. And guys, I'm going to Lisa, there's going to be some mad material here. Is that okay? And there's stuff that I've come across in over the days and the weeks and years before that I just find is helpful, is practical in terms of getting your head in the right place. And I'm going to share something with you. And I've no doubt that certainly after the first module and maybe even after the second, you're going to be scratching your heads and going, I did not expect this on an advanced credit management module. This is mad stuff. So I'm just forewarning you right now. Just read it with an open mind. And if it works, make it work. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So, but we are talking about a lot of good things. And as I said, the purpose of the first four modules is to put yourself in control. That is number one. So that's the areas in self-management, goal setting, and I give you techniques for setting goals and achieving goals and all that kind of stuff. And I just find, and some people get switched off by goals and say goals doesn't work. I've heard people saying that, that old goal setting, load of rubbish. It can if you want it to be, and you can use goals to beat yourself up. And what I'm saying is, no, goals are they're great just to give you something to get up in the morning for. And if you get them, well and good. If you don't, maybe the goal is wrong. So that's not what it's all about. It's just about giving you direction. And from a work perspective, by having a goal, it just makes it so much easier than just going in and taking whatever comes at you. So they're the kind of issues around goal setting and achievement. Then number three, time management. And again, I'm going to talk about, now we can't manage time. That's a misnomer, because we all have 168 hours. So we don't manage time. What we manage is what we do with our time. And that's why stuff like separating between what's urgent and what's important, they're kind of distinctions that we need to have clear in our head to make sure that we're putting our time to the best possible advantage. Notice I don't say to-do lists, because if you have a to-do list, you'll never get to do it. I prefer do lists of things that I am going to do. Monkeys and frogs will all be explained. Time slots and 80-20 in meetings. So it's just all about managing your time effectively to be productive. And it's not all about productiveness 24/7. We have to sleep, we have to take a break, we have to have a bit of fun as well. So certainly when we're talking about the important things, having a bit of crack is important. So we need to fit that in as well. And if we can manage our time and our priorities effectively, now that puts us into greater control as well. In terms of confidence, I'm going to give you, because self-talk, we beat ourselves up. We're very good at undermining ourselves. It's a human universal. It's not, there's nothing wrong with you. We all do it. We all beat ourselves up. We all are very highly critical of ourselves. And I suppose just to make you aware of that voice that's going on in your head and how to control it and get it working for you rather than against you. And there's other concepts there as well that we want to bring into place and teach you just to build your own confidence. And it's not about perfection, because perfection is something we never achieve or never can achieve. So confidence is huge, and a quiet confidence, not cocky, arrogant confidence. I mean, just a quiet resolve. And look, we get things wrong and we put our hands up, and that's life. We're human. In terms of individuals, then, just looking at people and their strengths and weaknesses and all that kind of stuff. So what we're looking at is we're looking at people, our staff people, as people, number one. We also recognize that each have different talents. And our job as managers is to get the best out of the people who are reporting to us. So it's never a one size fits all. It's never a, you do this and you do that. It's about rearranging the world to suit the talents of the people who you're reporting to you. So it might sound a bit complex. To me, over all the years, this is the only way to manage people. So you understand their strengths and weaknesses, and rather than punish them for their weakness and praise them for their strengths, we encourage them to use more and more of their strengths. And then the weaknesses that they have are made irrelevant by other people's strengths. Are you with me? So if I have a team and one person loves talking to some people and somebody else loves doing spreadsheets, then by knowing the people and the talents and what they bring and what they love doing, by arranging the world that you do all the spreadsheets, you don't have to talk to anybody. You just put your head in the spreadsheet and knock yourself out. And you, who hate spreadsheets and loves talking to people, you spend the day talking to people. So now I have two people doing what they love doing, and the work is being done to a higher standard. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So it's not about putting square pegs in round holes. It's about finding the unique talents of each of the people that are working for you, and then working together as a team. So my job as manager is to give people the tools and resources they need to do a job that they can be proud of. So that's what it's all about. And yes, praise and recognition and all that very much feeds into it. Now, not praise just to praise people, praise when they perform at a level of excellence. That's what I'm talking about here. So we give you techniques and questions and ways to discover this, so you can build a matrix of people. And and obviously, in every organization we have the people, and then we have the job that needs to be done. So we have to link both of those very clearly together. So like we're not here to have a little happy group every day, meditating for hours. We're here to do a job and get a job done, and to get the results that we need. And we're going to get those results through the people, and our job in management is getting the best out of people. So that's in terms of managing individuals, and managing individuals is done one-on-one with each individual. Teams are totally different. Teams are, there's a dynamic within the team. So we have to both manage the individual and a separate time to manage the team. So we look at what makes up a team, the components that we need to have a high functioning team, the different roles within the team, and creating this high performance team. And and it's not everybody doing the same thing, it's everybody doing what they do best. That's really what it's all about. And then the team management thing, management principles, we do get into a bit of techie stuff in relation to theoretical management, just to give you an overview of management principles. Most of the course is practical and real world and stuff that you can put into practice. The management principles are just to give you an insight into the gurus of management and what their thoughts and ideas are as well, to give you an overall understanding of it. In terms of the function, so we're looking at our cash collection, allocation, billing accuracy, disputes. So the job of managing a credit function is to get everything to run smoothly. So if everything runs smoothly, from new account opening to credit vetting to setting up lines of credit to order processing, billing, statements, cash allocations, everything just runs smoothly. That's the job of a credit manager. And stuff like disputes and queries and wrong invoices, that's something that we need to address and eliminate as much as we possibly can. And then just looking at areas that may not be of interest to credit controllers, but would be to managers, areas like exposure to various accounts and markets and all that kind of stuff. So we're not just looking at what's on the ledger, we're looking at the potential of what could be there and what's coming down the tracks at us, and where might we get caught out. So we're kind of looking down the road to preempt problems rather than waiting for problems to exist. And then the target setting and achievement here is in relation to the department, whereas in the first section it's about yourself. So that is that. And then in terms of reporting, the kind of areas we need to report on, and again, you won't be surprised, it's all about positive reporting, what we collected, what we've allocated, how accurate our billing is. In terms of credit note analysis, yes, and I know that could be seen as a negative. We need to understand what's going wrong within the business, and credit notes and disputes are a great way to see what's going wrong in the business, to give us an opportunity to put things right. So once we understand, rather than just doing credit notes, by taking a step back and working out why we're doing the credit notes, what is going wrong, where is the system breaking down, and repairing it rather than just fixing it. That's what it's all about. And then finally, managing exposure. So looking at all the customer balances out there and the possible losses, and now what can I do? And I talk about me, I'm really talking about you. What can you do to manage that exposure, that if the worst comes to the worst and it all goes pear-shaped, that we have something to put our hands on to minimize the loss. So that's the reporting. And then we're looking at the high risk accounts as well. So how to look at credit insurance and financial reviews. So if we have a high risk account, how we manage it and do it. So that's it. And then boundaries as well, your interactions with other departments and all that kind of stuff. So how do we manage that? Because it can be difficult. And if you're working in credit management, that 90% of the problems you have come from internal people, not external people at all. So that is that. So then there's your management reporting, and that's all that's involved. It's pretty simple. I'll just stop that now for a minute and go back here to have a look. So set of notes every week, and our audio files, listen to them, read them, do the tests, and as far as possible, do them. So if there are exercises in there, and particularly on the self-management, I'm not going to be testing you, or I'm not going to be analyzing you or anything of that nature. I'm going to throw information at you. You take what you think is helpful, and then just ignore what you think is a load of rubbish. And I won't be offended at all, but I do welcome your comments. So on that basis, what I will do now is just to I'll stop the recording. Recording. No, that's reactions. Stop recording.